What's up, guys? Music, universal language. This is going to be the 27th episode. And today I got a local musician, Mr. Todd Pronto. What's up, man? Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being on.
Nice to meet you over virtually.
Yeah,
Everybody's virtual nowadays.
Virtual for the moment, and hopefully we can meet in person in the near future. But
yeah,
the future's
absolutely.
unknown right now, I guess.
Who knows?
But yeah, thanks for being on. We got a lot of mutual friends apparently, and yeah, I always dug like your kind of folky. What's the best way? You have a really intimate sound, so to speak. Personal songs, I like that. You know, they're kind of they speak to you. They pull at the heartstrings.
Cool. Well, good. I'm glad. Yeah, I
just
really
appreciate
know.
that in any music scene, I guess. Those type of songwriters.
I call myself a folk singer for the simplicity of it, because I don't really think I'm an Americana guy, even though I might be.
It's almost like modern folk, but
Maybe,
you know what I mean? Like, I almost got like a Tom Petty vibe, but it's like a little more acousticy.
I'll take that.
It's just like one song in particular, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm like a left-handed Tom Petty.
Yeah, and that's right. And for a second, I thought, oh, wait, is he like going live and the camera makes it backwards? No, he's actually left-handed. So that's cool. That's unique.
Yeah, I actually made a video on YouTube like probably a year and a half ago about how to invert it back around.
Yeah.
And because as a left-handed guitarist, it was kind of driving me nuts, because everybody's got these guitars that I can't find anywhere because they're actually right-handed guitars.
Yeah.
And then when this pandemic broke out and everybody started going live, I started sharing it again. I was like, hey, man, like, this is how you flip your video around so you look the right way.
Well, it's funny. I figured it out on here, but I haven't done it on Facebook, so I should watch your tutorial.
Yeah, I'll send you the link. It's a short little YouTube link. The only difference is, Facebook changed their things, so you can't film vertically. You can only film this way now.
Really?
And with Facebook, yeah, unless you're using a computer or something.
Well, no, it's like I try to go, like it doesn't stream as well when I do it on my laptop. It's like the phone just has a better connection or something. So
yeah, it's weird.
I like the wide view. I mean, you see more, but whatever.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess I look at it as if you were going to hang your TV on the wall, which way would you hang it? And that's how you should film.
Yeah, exactly. You don't get a narrow screen, right? A narrow screen TV coming near to you.
Yeah, it's the new thing, man. It's the new thing. 4K narrow screen.
That's Instagram's the same way. You can't do widescreen. So, but is YouTube like that? YouTube you can go
vertically.
And you explain that as well, how to flip it.
Yeah.
The mirror. Cool.
Yeah.
Right on. Educational.
Yeah, man. I was just I was sick of seeing so many left-handed guitarists. They were all
I know, right?
They were giving me false hope that I could get a 1963 Fender Stratocaster left-handed.
Not one of them. They're all right-handed. No, not again. Like nobody's figured it out. I mean, it's very true. Like I'd say, I don't know, 90% of the videos are people not figuring out how to flip it. So.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess that might have been a challenge in itself. Let's go as far back. When did you actually start playing guitar? How hard was it to find a left-handed guitar?
It was really hard. I don't think I got my first left-handed guitar until I'd been playing for at least 5 or 6 years.
So were you like flipping right-handed ones? We're back to the flipping upside down basically and restringing.
Yeah, and I've always been primarily an acoustic guitarist. Like I do own an electric, but the one thing I didn't understand back then is that the bridge here is angled for a reason. So
right.
when you flip the strings around, not only is the pick guard on the wrong side, but intonation is almost impossible. And I didn't know that forever.
Right, you're young and no one told you. I mean, so how old were you when you actually got your first right-handed guitar?
I think I started playing when I was about 16 and a half, 17 years old, so later than a lot of people. And I probably didn't buy my first left-handed guitar until I was like 20.
Okay.
21 or so, and it was a this is before, for all the youngins out there, this is before the internet, so there was no eBay or Craigslist or
Right.
marketplace or anything. So my stepmother used to live in Burlington, and a friend of hers worked at, it was Calliope Music. I don't know if that's still even around, but they
I
sold
don't
mostly acoustic
think so.
instruments.
I think I would. I always go like instrument or music store shopping when I go to that area. So I
Yeah,
feel like
I don't
I
think it's
feel like
there anymore.
yeah.
And he had actually flipped an old Ibanez acoustic around for me. He had taken that bridge out and filled in with the wood and re-angled it. And then somebody, I don't know if they didn't pay a bill or whatever, but somehow they ended up with a left-handed Yamaha acoustic. And he called my stepmother, and we drove all the way down to Burlington, and I bought it for like $150, and it was my first real left-handed acoustic guitar. And the funny part is I still have it, but
Nice.
when my friends would come over that played guitar, they didn't have anything to play. So that
Oh,
guitar is actually strung right-handed.
what? So it got restrung.
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
god. So
I
how
have a.
long did you play it normally till you?
Oh, this is years later.
Oh, so
Um,
eventually you're like, okay, I have to do this because my friends need to play with me, basically.
Yeah, yeah. Like I think my friend Jared's the one that did it. He'd come over and he couldn't play any of my guitars, so I just strung it right-handed. So if you pull it out of the case to this day, I still have it for sentimental reasons, but it's strung right-handed.
That's funny, man. Okay, so was it like when you actually first got that one? Was it like a world of a difference? Just like wow,
Yeah,
intonation and
it,
everything.
yeah, it just felt right and it was balanced right. I mean, you don't think much. I mean, I can't even imagine a Strat
Hmm.
must, the strap hole would be in the wrong place. And
Yeah.
I mean, I know Jimi Hendrix had to do it.
Right.
um
I
to
guess you kind of need those ones in the back of the guitar, strap wise,
Yeah,
or the tie.
my
But
first ever guitar was actually a knockoff Telecaster that
huh,
somebody gave me, and I strung it left-handed.
was it like a Squire or what was it? What's a
I don't even know.
some
And
type
I
of
don't
just
even have
one
it anymore.
generic telly?
Yeah, I don't think it was a Squire.
Right
It
on.
was it was probably, yeah, I don't know, but then I got into acoustic pretty much after that. That's kind of always been my thing.
Yeah. So what's some big acoustic influences? Because I guess that can be popular or not depending.
Yeah.
Growing up and
Well,
whatnot.
I mean, obviously Bob Dylan. I mean, I think you're just supposed to say that, but
Right.
that really is. I think for me, as a kid, I always gravitated towards, like, I really loved Elvis when I was like 6 years old, and that's
Yeah.
an acoustic sound. And my parents would play the Beatles, and like one of my
Mm.
favorite albums from the Beatles is Rubber Soul, which,
Yeah.
yeah, and that's very, it's not totally acoustic based, but I always kind of gravitated towards the stuff in my parents' record collection that had that sound. And then I played in the punk band in high school,
Oh,
like
cool.
everybody else,
Right.
but I I also discovered my dad's Bob Dylan's greatest hits record on vinyl,
Mm.
and that's kind of what started me. And then it was just kind of a search for anything that sounded like that. And then
Ah.
when Nirvana did the Unplugged, it
And he's
really,
left-handed.
and he's left-handed. Yeah, yeah. But I think that really cemented it for me because I love Nirvana. But um
Oh, so you almost like love those acoustic versions almost more.
I do, yeah.
Kind of touched you more in a sense.
Yeah. So I've just always, but I mean, Bob Dylan's really like, I'm probably one of the few people on earth that thinks his first record is really, really good.
Oh yeah, that's the one. I mean, do you mean the one that's all covers or the Free Willin'?
Yeah, the one that's all covers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and dude,
I
he
love
has
it.
such a unique. I don't know. It's like you can tell he's progressing, but it's like a
Yeah,
unique tone in his voice and a unique style and his playing.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess because he's doing other people's songs, but yeah,
maybe.
that's
But all my
I like that
friends
one.
thought I was nuts because they were listening to like Weezer and Stone Temple Pilots and Pearl Jam, and
Right, right.
and I'm listening to Bob Dylan snarling out House of the Rising Sun or something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It just resonated more for me.
That's
And then freewheeling was like I kind of went in sequential Bob Dylan order
mm.
after I got the after I listened to my dad's greatest hits. I kind of just started buying them in order.
I
And
mean,
those first four records are probably all my favorites, and then I jump way up to Blood on the Tracks.
I do those late '60s albums are my favorites too as well. But it's so like the first four are kind of the more straight acoustic, and then those
Yeah.
like what the last two are the Blonde on Blonde and Highway 61. Like at the end
Yeah,
of 60s,
it went
70s. That's
Bob
when he.
Dylan, then freewheeling, then the times they are changing,
Yeah.
and then another side of Bob Dylan, and then he did the one with Subterranean
London.
Homesick Blues on it, which was
Highway
half acoustic,
61. Oh no, that's
bringing it all back home.
yeah.
And that was like half acoustic, half electric, and then he jumped
Just-
onto Highway 61.
So did you almost not like the folk rock as much, or you just kind of like the acoustic more?
I love them both, but the acoustic stuff just I really can't explain it. I love it.
Well, it's like a rawness of just the voice and the guitar,
Yeah,
and well, then he has the harmonica thing,
yeah.
which sometimes is even like not the best, but it suits
No,
it so well.
it's
It
freaking
suits.
horrible. And, and it's so shrill. Like I think Bob Dylan didn't realize there was a lower register on the harmonica, and he just played the most ear-piercing notes he could find. Um,
I wonder if he would agree with this by now, but yeah, it's absolutely true. I actually saw there's a harmonica documentary I saw, and they're like, "What's one thing you would give Bob Dylan?" Harmonica lessons.
That's fantastic.
All right.
Like like I mean, everybody kind of did the Bob. I think. Well, okay, so I very rarely do I play harmonica because I feel like it's a folk folk singer cliche.
Mm-hmm.
For the type of songs I do, it's different like for what you do because the harmonica is almost like a bass for like what you're doing.
Well,
You're
yeah,
kinda,
if it's the blues thing, it can be that thing. But
yeah.
then if it's the folk thing, it's almost another thing. I almost tried to go back and forth, but yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, so I don't do it often, and I brought a harmonica to some show. I did like a Steve Earle song, and I played harmonica. And somebody said, "I didn't know you could play harmonica," and I said, "I can't." They're like, "Well, yeah, you can," and I'm like, "No, anybody can play Bob Dylan harmonica,
Right.
or Neil Young harmonica."
G
But
to
then,
G or yeah.
yeah, but then like Blues Traveler came out, or some of those guys, and like that's how you play harmonica.
I mean, dude, Popper is a whole nother. Yeah.
Yeah. We I don't know if you're familiar with Jonathan Edwards or not. He did that
Sounds
"Sunshine Go
familiar.
Away Today" song from the '70s.
Yeah, I think so. I would
That
probably
guy
recognize it.
can rip on a harmonica, and I've done I think 3 shows I've opened for him, and
Oh, cool.
he's the type of guy that he puts the harmonica in that rack and just shreds it, and it's
And,
like, oh, it's an instrument.
and he's more straight. He's not doing the blues bends as much, correct? Or
No,
no?
it's
More straight
it's
like G to G or the folk way, but just
yeah,
awesome.
I think he does it that way. I don't know if he uses the fifths or what he does, but it's not Bob Dylan style, but it's not blues style. It's kind of John
Right.
Popper-ish. He's playing it's it's like its own. I guess he's doing what the lead guitarist would do if he had one.
And that's kind of like why John Popper just makes
Yeah.
it so insanely good because he almost like he plays better than a lot of lead guitarists. And
Yeah.
what about Stevie Wonder? He used to be well, I mean he still is, but he did harmonica like kind of before he did the keys as much. Well, as
Yeah.
a multi-instrumentalist, but Boogie on Reggae Woman, I mean,
Yeah,
that
right.
harmonica alone, it's like holy, you could play.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
anyways,
Yeah, but Bob Dylan,
Enough
man,
course.
he just took like the last four reeds on the very top end of the harmonica and just blew into the damn thing. And but it worked. But it worked. It's
Right.
iconic, you know.
When it's like I love what's that album? The comeback one, kind of the Desire, where he has the fiddle on the
Oh
whole
yeah,
one. And I love that combination of like harmonica and fiddle. It's kind of like a darker album in a sense, but
is that the one that has Hurricane on it?
yeah, Hurricane and One More Cup of Coffee and
Yeah,
Mozambique. All that. Yeah.
Mozambique. Oh
I
yeah.
love that album, man. And then
God.
it's I think right after that is Blood on the Tracks. So it's
Yeah,
kind of
it
like
is.
that comeback 70s because he did that weird stuff in the late or the mid 70s or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
I
my
know all this
girlfriend and I
stuff. One
were
point, right?
my girlfriend and I were talking about it on the back deck earlier today. You know, I was talking about how after his motorcycle accident, everybody thought he was going to come back during Sergeant Pepper's and Woodstock and with something crazy, and he comes out with John Wesley Harding with like an out of tune guitar, a bass player, and a drummer, and that's it.
Yeah. And then what's that weird? He did like a sound. Oh, the Billy the Kid soundtrack, or
Yeah, yeah,
It's just-
something Garrett, and then he did that Nashville album where he changed his voice. He went through a
oh,
weird period.
oh yeah, yeah. And it has Johnny Cash on the Nashville East Nashville
Yeah,
sessions, or yeah, or
yeah,
Nashville sessions?
and then Desire and Blood on the Tracks were kind of like, oh, there's Dylan.
Yeah, right. He's prevalent again. He's back at it. Right. I mean, and that's in how many? I think he has like 50 albums by now, so he's
Probably.
consistent. But it's almost like you can pick and choose. You know, obviously your favorites, and I guess he doesn't go back to that original sound as much. With,
No.
I mean, occasionally he'll have an acoustic song on an album, but it's almost rare to hear that old just acoustic guitar and harmonica like we're talking.
Yeah, I don't think he does that at all.
I mean, I know he does it live or whatever, but even live he comes out with a full band and whatnot. But
Yeah, I haven't heard his new album yet. I know he's got a new song that's like 17 minutes long, and
listened to like the first 3 minutes.
yeah, that's the thing. I
About
want to listen
JFK.
to it, but I'm like, when do I have 17 minutes to listen to this? I should
Dude,
do it when I go
quarantine,
for a
come
walk.
on.
Yeah,
It's like,
that's a
okay.
hell of an amount of time to carve out for a song, you know?
I know. Well, it's just the fact that he's still like that passionate about it. I mean, he's obviously just like a song freak, you know. He's just a writer, insane writer.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard that the motorcycle thing was like a fake thing and they just used it
Yeah.
so he could like get away for a while or whatever?
Yeah. I don't know if it's true or not, but it wouldn't surprise me.
Well, because he has the song, like, what is it, Motorcycle Nightmare?
Oh yeah, that's on the other side of Bob
Wesley?
Dylan album, I think.
Is it on
Motor
this?
Psycho Nightmare Blues or something.
Yes.
Uh,
Okay, so heavily influenced by Dylan, but like all the while, you're kind of like, you don't have like you're like by yourself in this influence because all your friends are into more modern stuff. I mean, you're into modern stuff, but like
Yeah.
you have this love for something else.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. I just always gravitated towards that.
Do
Yeah.
you like kind of like relate with like some older folks who like are into it?
Yeah.
Or like, as opposed to people your age, and you kind of like gravitate.
Sure. Yeah, I most of the people I play to, like with the folk thing that I do, are like my parents' age,
Right.
or and I'm like the young kid. It's cool. I got a grandchild. No, maybe not that bad, but
All right. So
I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm an old soul or something, but I just love the sound of acoustic instruments and like
it just
I'm a sucker.
resonates.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for melody. Like I'm not ashamed to admit that I think Billy Joel is awesome. I know a lot of
yeah.
people think Billy Joel's lame, but he's not.
I mean, it's a matter of appreciating the songwriting aspect, even if maybe it's not your most preferred style or genre. You know what I
Right.
mean? That's how
For
I
sure.
kind of look at it. I don't love maybe every Billy Joel song, but I appreciate the hell out of him as a artist. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
So, but I guess and that's kind of the thing with like appreciation for I guess there's two type of musicians sometimes, but like the appreciation for the songwriting aspect is almost like there's beauty and simplicity, right?
Mm,
Doesn't have to be the most complicated song or guitar playing or what have you. If it moves you, if it inspires you, if it's a real song, it kind of like comes through, I
yeah,
guess. And
yeah,
I guess it's almost like maybe I've met a lot of musicians. You're like almost like you feel like you're competing for like skill or talent, but it's like,
right,
well, the song doesn't have to be the most skillful thing if it's real. So how do
right.
you measure that compared to like, well, I could, jam for 20 hours or I don't know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? Like kind of like the technical musician compared to the creative musician. So
Yeah, yeah. Well, we were just saying, like Steve Earle's new album is out. I like Steve Earle a lot,
I love Steve Earle.
and I haven't listened to it yet. But he went live on Facebook today and did the whole album just him and an acoustic guitar. And I saved it so I could watch it later because I'm actually gonna listen to that before I listen to the studio version because
Right.
I'm more interested in hearing just him and an acoustic guitar
Well, it's
first. I don't know
and
why, but
I love that he did that when he did that Towns record. He did
yeah,
both versions. It's like the
yeah,
the, the basics, I think they called it, the
yeah.
acoustic one. It almost sounds like they just like he just recorded the acoustic one first and then they just added the other layers for
They,
the full album.
they could
If
have,
you
yeah, I
I
don't
mean
know.
maybe it almost sounds like they're so, similar in the recording the parts where he's singing and what have you, but I don't know, who knows.
It could be. I don't really know,
I
but
think that's a really cool concept though, like cuz with how much saturation we have with media and music, maybe it's like you should have both versions. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, and I thought it was neat that he didn't like wait a couple weeks. Like the album came out today, and at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, he's like, "All right, I'm gonna sing the whole album for you, just me and an acoustic guitar." Like
and
what?
as much Steve Earle's the truth, man. Like he really he's still doing it. I've seen him a few times, but
Yeah, me too. Me too. I and this will probably shock you, but I've seen him 3 times with a band and once just with an acoustic guitar. And guess which one I like the best?
probably the was it here in like Jay?
Yeah.
I
Were you
heard about.
there?
I think it. No, I wasn't there, but it was. I remember seeing it because it was like when I was really getting into his whole catalog.
Yeah.
But it was like I was like I don't know, super poor or something. Then it was like $50. I'm like
It was
but it
expensive.
wasn't.
Yeah.
And it was just like him and like people crowded around him. Where was it actually at?
It was
Like
in
Jay.
the Foger Ballroom at J Peak.
Okay.
So yeah, so when you go in the main hotel and you take a left, there's like a little ballroom down there.
So like super
Um,
intimate.
yeah,
You
yeah,
tell the
and
stories.
yeah, it was great, man. There was no opening act. He just walked out on stage and played for like 2 hours and did a bunch of stuff. Like, if you're a Steve Earle fan, you probably know most of it. But there's the one drunk guy in the back, like after every song going, Copperhead Road. And finally Steve Earle looked at him and said, "You think I'm not gonna fucking play Copperhead Road? Sit down, we'll get to it."
He usually does it last.
Yeah.
Like I've seen him do it with the full band. He does this whole like build up to it. There's like this huge
Yeah.
intro and stuff. You
Yeah.
know it's
But like
coming.
after 3 songs, like he'd be singing My Old Friend the Blues or something.
Oh,
Copperhead Road.
see, that's one of my favorite songs. My Old Friend the Blues.
Yeah, man. I performed that one quite a bit. That's a great tune.
Oh, right on. Okay,
It's one of the
so
only ones I actually know how to play. I love Steve Earle, but I don't know how to play any of his songs except for that one.
I actually know how to do Copperhead. It was the first one I learned on mandolin, but I do
Oh,
Galway okay. I don't know if I'm really good at playing anybody else's songs that good, but that's me.
I'm the same way. I'll have that when people ask me if I can cover a certain song. Most of the time the answer is no, and it's not because I don't want to. It's because I just can't do some songs.
Right. Well,
You,
and it's is it safe to say you've also invested a lot of time and energy in your own stuff,
Sure.
as opposed to, some people learn and practice more by learning other people's songs,
Right.
as opposed to like it's almost like you know, that's kind of the reason you pick up the guitar because you like feel inspired to write something.
Yeah, yeah. I
Is this
mean,
is this safe to say?
yeah, I'm actually curious to see if because you're a writer as well. So, like, I taught myself to play guitar by writing my own songs.
Yeah.
Like, somebody would say, "All right, here." The first song I ever wrote was called "Walk Away," and I don't know how to play it anymore. But a friend of mine said, "This is an E chord and this is an A chord," and I wrote like three songs with just E and A.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, that's how I taught myself to play guitar. I'd be like, show me some other chords. Well, this is a G chord. All right.
And it was it kind of like, did you start strumming it first and then the
Yeah.
words come, or did you have a melody and words and then you tried to figure it out and
No,
then
I'm not that smart. I think I just strummed the guitar and the
something would
and
come out? Kind of
yeah, yeah.
just keep hitting that A and then switch to the
Yeah.
E. And,
Yeah, and I still kind of write like that. But that's kind of been um I, I don't know how to play Stairway to Heaven, and I'm never going to
right.
because I just don't care. But
Exactly. And it's that's kind of the hard thing to explain, I guess, in a sense. But
yeah. But there's songs that I would love to be able to cover, and I
mm,
just I can't do it. And if I can't convince myself, then I'm not gonna try to
right.
make somebody else sit through it, I guess. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of songs that I want to do that I just can't, and there's a lot of songs. If I cover it, it's because I feel like I can do it justice, I guess.
Yeah. Well, and again, it's probably something that like, I mean, for me, it's like it resonates with you so much that when you actually learn it, it's like feels easier because you already know the words, right?
Right? Yeah,
So
that's
it's just
true.
kind of like, oh, let's just figure out how this goes with my playing or
Yeah,
style. You know
that's
what
a
I mean?
good point. Yeah.
But
Yeah, man.
so when did you actually start performing after strumming? Well, I mean, you did the punk band thing and kind of like played with bands, or
Yeah, I I started acting when I was like 5 or 6 years old on stage. A family friend of ours used to do summer camps, and we'd make our own
cool.
plays. So I was very comfortable on stage. I always wanted to be a musician, but I came from a completely non-musical family, so there were no instruments around. So in high school, I had bought a guitar. I had that Fender copy Telecaster junk guitar. Didn't even
Yeah,
know
yeah,
how to play it. And it was like sophomore or junior year in art class. I sat next to a guy who was a guitarist. And I said, "Oh, cool. I play guitar too. We should start a band." And he's like, "Oh, my cousin is a drummer, and his cousin was Micah Carbonell."
oh,
And
right on.
yeah, and Nate actually played. Nathan Michaud played bass briefly in that band, and then went on to form a completely like more hardcore band.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I didn't know anything about guitar, but I wrote poetry. So
Okay.
I sang for like 2 years and secretly tried to learn the guitar in the background. So I guess I started performing when I was 16, but I didn't start performing my own music until I was in my 20s, probably.
Okay. And I just lost track of thought here.
And I didn't really sing either. I just screamed.
Right. When it's so like you said, it was almost like you had the stage presence aspect before the skill, which I
Oh yeah,
could totally relate to. Cause you want to get up there, you want to be a part of it. Music's kind of your fuel, I
yeah,
guess.
yeah.
And so okay, so then from that until you started performing acoustic, was it kind of just like occasionally jamming with people or honing your skills, or
Yeah,
what
yeah.
was that period?
That was a lot of it was with when that group broke up. It was called Foozle was the name of the group.
It was nice.
And I kind of wanted to go in more of an acoustic direction, and Micah was kind of leaning a lot on jazz at the time, and he still does play a lot of that. And so we both kind of agreed together that it was maybe time to go in different ways. But Micah actually, um, I probably played with him. We grew up just down the street from each other, so
Oh, right on.
it was probably a lot of jamming with him. And he has an uncle that played the acoustic guitar and sang a bunch of '70s folk stuff. And
Right
I
on.
I did that, and then what really got me on stage again and performing like my own music acoustically was my choir teacher in high school. Her son's name was Gregory Douglas, and I don't know if you know that name or not, but he's a
Sounds familiar.
singer songwriter. He was from the Burlington area originally. He lives out in LA now, but I started opening for him,
Oh,
and
cool.
he already had a following, so that's kind of what got me back into the
Ah.
swing of things, I guess, as a folk singer. But I didn't know I was a folk singer yet. I just thought I was an acoustic guy that didn't have a band.
And so, was the earlier material like almost Dylan-esque, or was it more?
Yeah.
It was more like it was like that
Yeah.
kind of.
I wrote way too many words and I wasn't good at it. And all my songs are
Ah.
6.5 minutes long. And,
So did
you
you go
know,
through like a open mic phase, or was it like
yeah, it
immediately?
was. Yeah. Yeah. Open
Yeah.
mics in Burlington.
Cool.
I can't remember the names of the places. I don't think they're even there anymore, but
Right.
the open mics, man. Yeah.
Oh, hang on.
Yeah.
What's up, man? Ah, never mind. Father-in-law.
Oh,
Sorry. Um. Okay. Cool. So yeah. So this was like kind of shortly after doing your cruises thing. You got the opportunity to open for this guy,
yeah.
like quite a bit. Was it like
Yeah,
consistently
it
for a
was
while, or?
yeah, it was probably like for a whole summer and then a little bit into the next summer.
And
Um,
so was he kind of like the type, the folk singer type that would like talk between the songs, tell the story, and everyone
mhm,
listened, sort of like they had that scene
yeah,
somewhere?
yeah.
Okay. And this is like late 90s? What are
Late
we?
90s, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and
And
then
so
it kind of went away. I think it kind of died out in Burlington
it's yeah,
shortly
it's just
after
like
that.
hard to find, or I guess
Yeah.
there's so many, like again, it's a saturation where there's so many like scenes to get into,
Yeah.
but not, the intimate ones are always as popular, which is unfortunate.
No, and they're harder to find
Yep.
and they don't pay. Like,
It's a
you
niche
know,
niche market
yeah,
in a sense.
it's a tough gig being a folk singer.
Damn, we've never heard that before. No.
Yeah.
So were you like kind of like mentally taking notes from Douglas? You said Gregory Douglas. Gregory Douglas.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And kind of like.
And then at the same time, I met a country singer named Wayne Warner.
Hmm.
You might have
Never
heard
heard of him.
that name. He's a local guy from Lowell
Oh.
who was signed to Atlantic Records
Oh,
in
cool.
the early 2000s, and then went out on his own. And so after that, I opened a show for him, and then decided to record a country record because
Hmm.
basically his manager convinced me that I should record a country record, and I said, "Well, I'm a folk singer," and he said, "There's no difference."
Just
And
add a slide guitar in there. You're all good.
he was kind of right. I mean, there's really I just finally went through the whole Ken Burns country music documentary over
Oh, right
this
on.
quarantine, all 16 hours of it or whatever. And there really are so many parallels to folk music and country music. They're really not different. And the blues are very similar as well.
Yeah, most
Um,
definitely. I
yeah.
think it's
I
all
mean, not
relative.
not bro country,
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. Real country, roots country,
roots country. Yeah.
which comes back to again like the blues and folk, acoustic guitar and some like what
Yeah.
do they call it? Three strings and the truth, right? That's what they.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
And you don't even have to tell the truth.
Yes, you can bullshit your way through it.
It's three chords and some bullshit.
Okay, so
I'm
you
gonna name
made
my next album that. Okay?
and
Three
some
chords and
bullshit.
some bullshit.
You know what it's supposed to be, but yeah. All right. All right. So what? So did you make this country album?
I did. It's on Spotify. It's called
V-
Nashville Stereo.
Cool.
And
And so was this like? What was the major difference? You like had some players behind you, or
yeah, it was all studio guys that did that for a living. So,
it was like drums, bass, steel guitar, the
steel
whole
guitar, fiddle,
Oh,
back
cool.
harmony singers.
I gotta look this up now. Early two
Yeah, it's
thousands.
you know, I always wrestle every year when it comes up for renewal on Spotify. I use TuneCore,
Okay.
and I can't remember what it costs, but every year they're like, "This album's gonna auto renew or whatever," and I've almost pulled it off so many times because it's just so different than what I do now. But I've forced myself to keep it on there because it's a timestamp, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
It says on Spotify 2010 because that's when I released it on Spotify, but I actually
Digitally.
recorded it in like 2006.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
And so Wayne Warner's manager suggested this. So then after the album, was there almost like, you were hoping to continue working with him, or did you?
Yeah, well, Wayne actually produced 4 or 5 of the songs
Oh,
in the
cool.
studio down in Nashville, and I opened for Wayne quite a bit. And then he kind of took off and did his own thing, and I finished the album with other musicians that I had met in Nashville that
Oh.
that also owned studios. I mean, everybody down there, once
Yeah.
you meet a few studio musicians, they all know each other. So it was kind of like, I want to continue this. Who should I call? Oh, call this guy.
So
And
were you like coming out of pocket and paying for
yes,
all this?
yes,
Get a little expensive?
it was very expensive and a horrible business plan.
And just
I'm not,
using show money, and
what's that?
you're like using the money from making from shows, and
Yeah,
were
yeah.
you actually working another job, or?
I was working in radio. I also
Oh yeah, yeah.
had a college fund that I didn't use for college.
Oh,
So
right on.
um so I used it for that album. Maybe that's why I don't take it off Spotify. That's my college
You
fund.
invested in it.
I,
Right on.
I never thought about that until now, but it's extremely expensive. It's to cut the way they do it down there. You send them the song and you have somebody chart it out,
Mm-hmm.
and they use this number system. I don't know if you're familiar with it.
Yeah, kind of like tabs in a sense. Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically like 1 4 5 chord of the key, and
Yep.
the
Yep.
thing will say 4 4 4 measure 1 1 measure whatever.
Right.
And the musician, it's the craziest thing on earth because the guy that tabs it out is the guy that you work with. So in my case, it was the bass player and the guy that owned the studio, and you'd go in and he'd already tab it out, and he'd hand the sheets to all the musicians. He'd say, like, what do you want on this song? And I'd say, oh, I want a steel guitar and uh, whatever and harmonies. So he'd bring the musicians in. He'd play the demo that I made on my 4 track, the Fostex cassette tape 4 track
Yeah. Yeah.
for these musicians. And then they'd be like, what key is it in? And say, it's in the key of A. And then you'd all go in your booths and they just 1 2 3 4. There's your record. It's
Like one
friggin'
take,
pretty much.
practically. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they go in and punch some stuff. He'd be like, because they number out the measures. So he'd be like, oh, measure 26. Let me punch that. And the guitarist would just
Mm.
like punch over it. And you do 4 songs in about 3 hours.
Wow.
And it's amazing. And 4 songs cost about $3,000
Whew.
because they're all in a union, so you're paying them all scale. You never have to pay them money again for all the sales that you don't have.
But it's just a flat. It's just a flat rate for anybody, basically.
Yeah, yeah,
And I guess that's what you get, what you pay for, when they can just knock it out like that.
it's
Like, okay,
unbelievable.
that's how it goes. All right.
The first time it happened, I have a song called "Money in a Suitcase,"
Mm-hmm.
um, which at the time was like my most popular song, I guess. And they counted it in and they started. And I was just standing there in the vocal booth staring. And Wayne Warner was on the other side of the glass. And he's like, sing. This is where you sing. And I couldn't. I was like, what the hell is happening? I brought my acoustic guitar because I was gonna play, and I just put it in its case. Like I can't add anything to this. It was
Just
just
saying.
no. It's yeah. Um, Having that experience is one of the greatest experiences I had, but I don't think I want to do it again. I
Right.
I like recording with people that I know much
Yeah,
better.
it's it can bring a different kind of feeling to the whole sound of the sonically, the
Yeah.
sound of the
I mean,
record.
I went in after and just strummed my guitar along to all those, and we buried them in the mix just so I
Mm,
could say that I'm playing on the album.
give you the
But
credit.
yeah, but you can't hear it. I mean, and there's no reason to hear it.
So is there I mean, is the money in the suitcase, is that kind of like your most the highlight of the album you would say, or is there any favorites of your
Of
own?
of that album, there's two that I still play to this day. And one of them is called Money in a Suitcase, and the other is called Crutch.
Cool.
And every other song on there I don't think I've played since.
Crazy.
It's good. It's a little, I mean, some of it was the direction I wanted to go and some of it was the direction I thought I had to go if I was going to
Mm.
have a country hit.
Yeah,
So
right.
some of the stuff I listened to and I cringe a little bit, and but I guess I'm not ashamed. It's just part of
It's
you
the
know.
process, and it's yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure Monet painted some pretty awful shit in the beginning of his career.
Exactly
You
right.
know, it's just not hanging in a museum. So thank
We're
God
not
for
all
Spotify.
we're not all like, Prince prodigies, just like,
Yeah.
oh yeah,
Oh God, no.
you're just a good right away sort of thing. So,
Yeah.
is there any like well, I guess I should become more familiar with Wayne Warner. Is it kind of like similar to his sound of like a
No.
modern roots country, or is it like
Sorta. He's a little more pop influenced. I think I'm a little more Steve Earle influenced.
so maybe is it kind of like what's that great Steve Earle Train a Comin' style?
I wish that
Well,
would be
that one's
the
actually
album.
way more rootsy than a lot of his stuff.
I love that album. That's
That's from my
no,
favorite.
it's more like Guitar Town.
Okay, cool.
Like
So
that.
almost that '90s country rock, but like
Yeah.
slightly more modern because it was
Yeah.
early 2000s, sort of.
If I went back to Nashville now, I would want to make a train of coming type album with those
Dude,
cats, man. That would be cool.
oh
Um,
yeah.
but no,
It's
it's
almost
a little more, yeah, yeah. If you listen to it, I think you'll see what I mean. Some of the songs are pretty good, and some of them are kind of hokey.
right. Well, it's, yeah, and like you said, you're almost like you feel like you're going for something that isn't really you, and it just kind of like it comes through in the song sometimes, I suppose.
Yeah, well, all they talk about in Nashville is like the hit. This song's going to
Ah,
be a hit. What's the next hit? What hit did you have? And then you start trying to write a hit. You're just like, it's not really, people have amazing careers doing that, but I
it's
don't
not what
know.
you're chasing, so to speak. You're not.
Yeah.
If a song
I don't
happens to
think
be a hit, it just happens to be. It's not like you tried.
yeah, I don't think like Leonard Cohen ever sat down and said, "Let's write a hit today."
Exactly.
Maybe he did,
Well, same
but
with
I
Dylan.
doubt it.
Yeah, I don't think Dylan did either, or Neil Young or Steve Earle.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm not ashamed of that album, but you can definitely tell that I was trying to write a hit.
Almost trying to be something you're not, and yeah. Which is, I mean, like you said, it's just part of the process. It's a learning lesson, right? You
Yeah.
took something from it, and so you said you were like doing radio at the same time of this. Was this in Nashville or?
No, I would travel to Nashville for a week and then come back, and then I
Oh,
left the
okay,
radio station and I went down to Nashville and just kind of stayed there for a while. and then
Cool.
came back and got back into. I used to be on Moo 92, which is
Yep. Local.
the the local radio station here, and then I did that for like 10 years without doing any music whatsoever.
Oh, and so was that after this album when you
After
came back?
Nashville, yeah.
And so, okay, so this is like 2007 ish or
Yep.
something.
Yep.
And so is and so then Moo 92, like a lot of local radio stations, there was actually more, what do you call it? Not playlist. It was actually you on the air and playing
Yeah.
stuff on the spot. Because isn't it kind of more syndicated now? Am I
Yeah,
automated?
there's a couple people in the building that are there. Most of it's pre-recorded and it's all on a computer.
Which is
Um,
all like most radio in
oh
general.
yeah,
But so you
I
kind of almost caught the tail end of
I
being
did.
alive.
I saw the transition. I actually spun CDs and played commercials off of. It wasn't the old cart decks. It was a digital cart, but it was a DOS-based system where you would have your commercials banked, and then there'd be a stop, and you would just cue it up, and you'd hit the space bar. We'll be right back after this, and you hit the space bar. When you're
Oh.
done, you played the CD, and I actually got to do that, and then see the transition of when the computers came in and all the songs had to be dubbed into the computer.
Wow.
Spend hours just dubbing songs in and
Killed the
or
DJ.
ripping them in. You didn't play them in real time, but it takes forever.
Isn't
And
that
then see the automation take over and the voice tracking
it's like I
and
feel like radio saw it first.
yeah, radio died pretty. It conglomerated and like a lot of times you'd be listening to somebody tell you the weather in Derby, Vermont, and they're in Princeton, New Jersey, because the radio station headquarters was in Princeton, New Jersey, and they owned 56 radio stations.
Yeah, exactly. And then and
And
then and that's kind of why it sucks because you can just basically hear the same classic rock or whatever you want to call it anywhere USA. Any channel
yeah,
you turn it on and it's that genre.
I
You're
had
gonna hear the same
the
playlist
privilege
practically.
of being a program director for the last few years that I was in radio, and Trains Drops of Jupiter came out
Mm.
at one point, and I heard it, and I called my supervisor in West Lebanon, New Hampshire, and I'm like, we need to add this song. Well, it's not trending very well. It's only got a 6 on the. You'd follow allaccess.com, and then you'd follow the trends of their other 50 radio stations. And well, in Princeton, New Jersey, the audience isn't reacting to it well. And a month and a half later, Drops of Jupiter is like the number one freaking song. And then he'd call up and be like, well, we're going to add Drops of Jupiter this week. I'm like, oh, we are we?
Like we could have been on top of this. We could have been trendsetters, man.
Yeah, that radio is not trend setting whatsoever. Now they wait to see how it tracks with their test group. But
Or
yeah,
they can like see how it does on
you
social media first, right?
yeah.
And
But
then
back in the day,
transition.
you would show up to the DJ and try to convince him to spin your record on the air. And
Right.
if they did, then good for you. And if they didn't,
So you said that was the last couple of years. So like up until then, did you kind of have like a show where you could decide play whatever you want for a while?
no, I just
It was always
we had a playlist. I had a co-host. We were Todd and Devaney in the morning, and we had a
cool.
playlist that was the song, but we talked most of the show.
Okay,
Like,
so talk show style.
yeah, like there was
Yeah.
probably 12 songs programmed in, and we'd play like 3 every hour. And
Was it
and
like a morning thing?
it was a morning
Or-
show, yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
right on.
and
I
we
must have
get
just
yelled
missed
at
it, or
all the time for talking too much. But when the ratings came out, we were always on the top. So
oh, right on. So
we
you
kind
did
of
this
let
for a decade, you said, huh?
it. Yeah, I think altogether a decade, but from 2007 to 2013 we did that show, and then prior to that, in between Nashville, I worked in radio as well. It's
Oh, right on.
2001 is when I started right during September 11th, basically.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah, like 2 weeks before it happened. So that
And
was my
then
initiation to radio.
so everything just like changed to
Yeah, it was
warning or
weird.
I don't terror. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
like I didn't realize I'd never heard the word Episcopal before,
Mm.
like Episcopal Church, and so you're reading all these vigils, and I was like the St. Mark's Episcopal Church, and people would call up and be like, "It's not, it's Episcopal, you friggin' idiot," and I'd be like,
You
well, "I don't
heathen.
know."
Right. Right. So that's
I was
crazy.
raised
Yeah, I don't
Catholic.
think
What do
I
you
would
want?
have. Right on. You're like, come on, guys. I'm not trying to butcher it. It's an innocent mistake.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so you said basically, so you didn't really perform from the country album until radio was kind of over
Yeah.
2013. You didn't really were you still writing at home, or you just
Yeah, I was still
always
writing.
writing? Can't stop writing in a sense.
No, but I wrote the whole time, and I drank a lot. I
Right on.
became a professional. I've since retired, and I didn't start performing again until about 2015, when I put
Okay.
out the "It Can't All Be Wrong" album, and
Oh, right on.
that was written over the time span of 2007 to 2014, probably.
Wow.
And Money in the Suitcase is on that album because it came out so good. I just took it off the Nashville album and put it on this one.
Oh, is it the same version, or you just like that one enough?
Same version, yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Right on. And
I
so,
recycled it.
right on. Upcycled. No.
Upcycled it. Yeah.
Did you so was that album like, so a 7 year process of writing? Was there like, 20 to 30 songs and you picked the best 10, or was it like you kind of had ones planned out specifically for what you're going to do next?
I don't yes.
Cuz this is a
It,
long period to
it
maybe
was a
write a
long
lot.
period. Yeah, but
Yeah.
I drank a lot. So I was
Right on.
very unambitious for a good amount of
Okay.
time. So I probably only wrote about 12 or 13 songs during that time period.
So maybe in a sense they were kind of like, they came out, the best because that's all I guess you wrote, I guess. But so was
Yeah.
it almost like you were like so focused on the radio thing, or it's, the alcohol thing mixed
Yeah,
with it?
yeah. It was
And
both. I worked stupid hours, like 4 in the morning till 5 at night,
oh
then
wow,
and then on the weekends hung out at furniture stores and tried to tell people to come down and buy mattresses and
were you
save
like
me.
a local celebrity
Yeah, I guess.
radio host? I mean,
Yeah,
it's not the biggest area.
I wasn't as famous as Devaney though. She was much more popular than I was.
Ah,
You know.
can't compete.
No, no, no.
Right.
But
Okay,
yeah,
so it can't all be wrong. This came out 15, you said, or 16? 2000.
2015. Yep.
Right on. Cool.
July, June, July. The first day of July, July 1st. What's the first day of July?
I believe July 4th, though.
Yeah, it was like July 1st. I remember that because my mother passed away 2 days before it came out.
Oh,
In
wow.
on June
Sorry to hear that.
30th, and it came out July 1st, and I went to the bank that morning, and I had to wait in line for something. I can't remember. I might have had to sign something for my mom. I don't remember why I was there, but there was
Right.
a 7 days on the stand. And I said, "Oh, I wonder if they reviewed my album." And I picked the 7 days up, and I sat down in the lobby of the bank. I opened it up, and I read the review, and they trashed it. They hated the album. So my mother had just passed away, and 7 days told me that my album sucked. And
What?
I I kept going. I almost didn't, but
Dude, I love that Hideaway song.
that's what I got out of it. That came out like maybe 2 or 3 weeks after that I wrote that song.
Oh, so that's the next album. Okay, that's
Yeah.
what I was kind of like. I felt like, because yeah, okay, that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So after she
Yeah.
passed, and
Yeah.
so wow, so you already had it planned to be released then, and you were kind of going through all this other
Yeah.
intense family stuff.
Yeah. She came to my CD release show. It's like I did an Indiegogo campaign
Oh, cool.
and raised the money. And then I invited a bunch of people to the show like the last day of March, I think it was. And at the Goodrich Library. And she came to that and she was very sick then. And
Oh, damn.
so I mean, so we knew it was coming, but the
Right.
reason I remember the day that the album came out is because of just the way the timeline worked.
Well,
Because I couldn't tell you when the other one came out. you know,
well,
I just
screw
remember
7 days.
that happening, and then 7 days telling the entire state of Vermont that I suck.
Come
And
on. I think a lot of locals would disagree. And they won't even give me a review, so at least, I mean, I don't know. Maybe something's better than nothing. But
I don't know. yeah, I'm not. You know, you know how I got it was a guy from 7 Days. So I work at the public access TV station here in Newport,
yeah.
and he came in to do a show there. And he met me in
Oh.
person, and I said, "How do I get this album?" That probably helped.
All in who you know.
I think so, yeah. But it
Oh,
doesn't mean they're going to give you a good review.
yeah, exactly. Well, I actually think I got them to respond via email, and they like told me to wait till it was officially released because I was like trying to promote it for album release before. I was trying to
yeah,
promote the show before
yeah,
the show happened, and they're
yeah.
like, "No, just wait till the album comes out." And I'm like, "What the show?"
I remember that. I remember that actually that you say that because they said, "Well, do you have a show that we can promote with this?" So I booked a show at Radio Bean
Mm.
on July 5th, and just so I had a show and they'd review the album and say, so they trashed the album and then they said, "If you'd like to see Todd Pronto live, he'll be at Radio Bean on."
Well, you know, then the thing is, you know, we say they as a collective, but it's really just one dickhead,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
right? Just one writer who's I don't like this style, and I don't know.
Yeah, it was funny. So we went. I had Nathan Michaud came with me to Radio Bean for that show.
Oh,
And
cool. Does he record on that album or no?
he
Or just
he
didn't.
yes.
And that was like the
No, no.
beginning of him coming out of his break of not playing.
This is all around the same time. I'm trying to remember if he's on that one. He's definitely he plays on What a Wonderful World. And yes, he played on a song called Heartbreak Friend.
Right
Most
on.
of the album was recorded except for that song, and he played on that. Yeah, so he came to Radio Bean with me, and my mother just passed away, so my family was all around. So all my cousins that live in the Burlington area came and packed Radio Bean. So it was all my family.
That's cool.
And we did the show, yeah. And then Nate and I went back to Radio Bean maybe 2 months later, and there was like one person in the freaking audience,
I've
because
played there too. Yeah, I know.
my family didn't care anymore, so they didn't come to that show.
Right, right. Oh, damn.
Yeah,
Well, screw you, 7 days. No.
yeah. But that's cool because Nathan plays with you.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
That's one of
Well,
our mutual friends.
it's funny. He did the first episode of the podcast, and yeah, he actually
I watched
mentioned
it.
you on that. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, did he
So
mention
he didn't actually. I don't think he gave me the Fugal name, or what was it? Fuzel.
Fuzel? Yeah,
Fuzel. He didn't actually mention that, but he mentioned a punk band or something.
yeah. He played. I think he played bass. Pretty
Right
sure he
on.
played bass, and none of us really knew what we were doing. We didn't have any material, and then he knew some other guys that like kind of had their stuff together, and they started a band, and we hired a bass player after he left that owned a bass,
Oh, cool.
like
So
owned a
that's
bass. Like,
right,
hey,
exactly.
I own a bass.
When
Cool, you're
it's
in the
all
band.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, you can play bass. Anyone can play bass, man.
Yeah,
Just stick to those bass notes. We're all good.
yeah,
Wait, so was that one of his first coming back to live performances too? I feel like maybe.
yeah. When
'Cause he
when
took a
we
huge break.
reconnected, um, we I had moved to the Orleans area and ran into him at his work, and we started talking, and he was just kind of getting back into playing guitar, and I used to go out to his place in like West Charleston, and we
Hmm.
jam, and I was newly sober. I was only a few months sober. So I would go out there to kind of keep my mind off stuff, and
Right, right.
his wife would make like awesome like curry food, and we just sweat out the toxins, I guess, and play
Hell yeah.
guitar, and he so he was starting to get back into it, and then yeah, it was we were both
Right
kind of
around the
getting back
same.
into it together. Yeah,
That's cool, man. Especially like you reconnect like that, and you both have been playing the whole time, but not performing live. So it's almost like probably give you a little more confidence doing it together. I mean, I always get more confidence with a great lead guitar player. Either way,
sure.
like,
Oh hell yeah,
take over, brother.
take it. Yeah, if you forget the lyrics, guitar solo.
Yeah, exactly. You could do another section, right? All right. So so the Hideaway song came shortly after, and then that eventually was the beginning of the next project or
Yeah,
album.
yeah, yeah.
And
I
so this was not as long of a period till the next one came out, though, right?
No, it was much quicker. It was like 2016 or 17. Yeah, it was like it wasn't much longer. I did that, and I did What a Wonderful World. It's one of my favorite songs, so I
Oh
paid for
yeah.
the rights to do that.
Oh
And,
cool.
and Nate played on that as well. Um, he didn't play on Hideaway for the Sun because that's just a guitar and piano, I believe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty
Um,
straightforward.
yeah, and that's kind of the direction I started moving is the 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 album that 7 Days trashed was a
Is
lot more. I was throwing in some rock elements and kind of doing some stuff to
is it full band like drums and
yeah,
okay? So you even shifted even more back to the acoustic.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
just without a drummer makes a big difference. You know,
yeah, yeah,
you could have a bass and lead. It's still a very acoustic song with no drummer, basically.
right, yeah,
You
yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah. And um I don't think I've ever recorded myself playing an electric guitar.
Hmm.
I think it's always been acoustic. Yeah.
That's cool though. It's just what you're most comfortable with, or how you write your songs, right? So,
Yeah, I just love it. I love how it vibrates on your body, and I love how it sounds, and I love that there's no effects, and that it's
mm.
truly the tone that it's just it is what it is.
Well, it's like if we have no power, or you're in a place in the middle of wherever, nowhere, you can always get the same sound. Well, I mean, not the exact same sound, but you know what I'm saying. You
Right.
can acoustic instruments can always provide a sound, and I mean they're one of the earliest forms of technology in a sense, with
Sure.
strings and
Yeah, it's like
holes
a
and
built-in
resonate.
speaker, that sound hole. It's like
Yeah.
yeah, I yeah, I just love the acoustic guitar. I have like a bunch of them, and I have a Fender Telecaster. That's it.
Do you like occasionally almost like write out your own lead parts with mess around with the telly, or you just kind of putz
I
around
mean,
on it sometimes?
sometimes, yeah, but
Yeah.
I'm not very good at it. I'm a very heavy-handed acoustic guitar player, and that doesn't transfer well to electric guitar. It
So the strumming, yeah, it's
Yeah,
kind
I'm
of one.
popping
It's
the pickups and
once you just like you get so used to strumming, like you said, yeah, like heavy and just acoustic in general. It's heavier. It's the strings are thicker. once you pick up electric, it's almost like, you're like bending a string. You like bend it way out of tune because you're so used to
Yeah.
bending something thicker.
Oh,
You know?
just playing a G chord, I'm out of tune because I play 12s on an acoustic guitar, which is
Yeah.
fairly standard, but um 10s on an electric guitar feel like dental floss to me. And
You have to
so
like mentally tell your hand like don't strum as hard or don't push the string down as hard.
yeah,
Which is just
yeah.
you're mentally so used to it the other way. Yeah. I totally hear what you're saying, but
I actually I put 13s on my telly.
oh really?
Yeah,
Whoa,
just
crazy.
because I was like, damn it, I play a bar chord and it's out of tune. I gotta do something about this.
I mean, that's what you gotta do. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I don't play it. It'd be very rare sighting to see an electric guitar around me. It's out there though. If you look on YouTube hard enough, you'll see me playing an electric guitar.
Now, is there anything? Did anyone film this epic radio bean show for your "It Can't All Be Wrong" with Nathan? Is that it somewhere?
Oh yes,
That would be cool to find.
I bet it is. I bet it
One
is.
of your family members had the old camera. One of your
Yeah.
cousins.
If it's not on YouTube, I do have video of it. But I feel like there's a video of me playing a song of mine called 74 Dodge Dart with
Right on.
Nathan. I'm pretty sure if you go on the YouTube you can find it.
So, did you and Nathan do much afterwards, or did you again kind of keep shifting acoustic direction?
Yeah, he played backup for me for a while before he started getting into his own stuff, and about that same time um I really enjoy just the acoustic guitar and a microphone thing.
Yeah.
For me, I like to tell stories and um I just love it. I love the intimacy of that's the crowd and me, and we're all together and we're in this. And so I don't go over well in a bar atmosphere or a restaurant atmosphere
Mm.
because I I'd love to just reach
Be able
out
to.
and connect with the audience and tell
Yeah.
stories and laugh together and
You have to really have that, the mutual feeling or like respect or whatever you want to call it, but like to listen, to thoroughly listen, and kind of
yeah,
appreciate the
yeah,
story as much as the song.
you're not just playing the instrument, you're almost reading the crowd and trying to figure out how to best draw them in. And so I
Connect.
started doing a lot more by myself because it's actually very hard to do that with other people on stage with you. It's you I don't really know how to explain it, but to be able to do the folk singer storyteller thing that I do, you really have to be tuned into the audience and hear, and somebody tuning in the background or
Yeah.
um or putting their glass on their amplifier or something. It's not distracting, but it's, and then you feel like you have to pay attention to them too and not
Right. And
crowd.
and they almost just have to like patiently sit there, calmly, like
Yeah,
which they do,
they do.
it can
Yeah.
happen, but it's just harder to manage, I suppose.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll tell halfway through a song, I'll just tell a 6 minute story over a vamp of like playing a G chord and a D chord or something like.
Right.
Um, and it's Nathan's very good at following that. Like
Yeah.
he knows like, oh God, Todd's just gonna like talk for the next 10 minutes. But but it it's funny. It it works better solo.
Yeah.
Um,
No, it makes sense. I think
though
it's
I'm not a real good guitarist, so certainly there are holes like a guitar solo would go really good here.
right, right. But I think it's just part of the atmosphere and the crowd. It's just if they're into that thing, I think it's appreciated. I mean, you just kind of have to have that crowd. I mean, isn't that like why they call certain places like listening rooms?
Yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
they used to just be another stage room or whatever where you have the bands, but now they're like this intimate, personal thing. And
Yeah.
yeah, you ever seen like Todd Snyder? Or
Yes. I
he's
love
awesome,
I
man.
love Todd Snyder.
And by himself in the story, I mean, he's funny as shit too. He could be a comedian just as much as a folk singer.
He could be. He's like Mitch Hedberg that writes good songs.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
And he's equally as funny as ones as serious ones, like really in
Yeah.
depth ones. And
Yeah, Todd Snyder is one of those artists that just like floored me early on, and I
yeah,
was
dude.
like, man, that's what I want to do. Uh,
And he'll go back and forth with the full band thing, but I think overall that's what people know him for is the solo, telling the story, and
yeah,
it just I don't know, it does something to the song, like
Mhm.
it just makes it more
yeah.
pungent or
One of my
something.
favorite albums of all time is Tom Waits's "Nighthawks at the Diner."
Oh hell yeah.
And yeah, and it's just there's maybe 6 songs on there, and the rest of it's like just him telling stories over jazz music, and um, I love that, and I certainly cannot do it as well as either Tom Waits or Todd Schneider, but I try.
Come on, don't discredit yourself. Or like yeah, Arlo Guthrie, he's still, yeah. I mean, there's just so many that it's that if you know the reference of the, like what, I mean, I think it's what a traditional folk singer is. It used to be like, I think what most of them did. The story was part of the performance. The communication between the audience. Like maybe it was slightly more common in certain times or areas that people would listen more.
Yeah.
But I think I don't know. I love that art form, and it's not something that everybody can pull off, to capture people to listen to you that much, especially when it's, you want them to hear the points of the story that kind of hit home with the song, right? So it's
Yeah.
like
And it's
it's
hard
hard to do. It's hard.
it's hard to pinpoint what it is too, because I can't tell you what it is, but I can sit in a round or at an open mic, and 30 seconds into a certain performance, it's just like, oh, that person has that thing. Don't know what it is, but I'm right I'm right there with them.
Something
And
that's capturing you, or
yeah, but what is it? Like it's weird. When it
yeah.
happens, it's beautiful, but I don't know. That's kind of my thing, and so that's why I tend to perform solo most of the time.
Yeah.
I'm not like, if we were jamming and you told me like go ahead take a lead, um, nope.
Not like,
Like
yeah.
I can't. I don't know how to. I'll just keep playing the rhythm chords. You take the lead. You do it. I
Well, yeah,
yeah,
well, and again, I think it just comes back to like that's why you do it, because it's something that your songs are like you need to like express yourself,
yeah,
right? You
yeah,
have to get the shit out of you. So it's
yeah.
not like, oh, I picked up a guitar to be Hendrix or
Or to get girls.
Van Halen or whatever the hell. But like, and even we were talking about earlier, like Dylan wasn't the most skilled harmonica player, but the songs made it work.
Yeah.
So it's irrelevant. Some musicians might completely disagree because they're on the other end of the spectrum of be the best skilled player. But I think, to me, I appreciate, well, both sides, but I almost appreciate the songwriting side more, because I think the thing is, you can tell when it's real. You can tell when someone has to write it.
Yeah.
Like you didn't, like you said with someone trying to write a hit in Nashville. You didn't try to write it. You had to. This is that your songs. You kind of had to puke
Yeah.
them out.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's something about it's kind of like a buzzword right now, but people are always talking about authenticity, and it
Yeah,
it's
genuine.
yeah, it's so true. Like I think Pink Floyd is a great example because
Love Floyd.
David Gilmour is across the board just an amazing guitarist. But I am not interested in any of Pink Floyd after Roger Waters and him split ways.
Dude, I
Because
feel exactly the same way.
yeah, I mean, as much of a jerk as Rogers is, um,
Right.
those songs that he wrote
Oh my God.
are the perfect vehicle for David Gilmour to do his thing. And I don't really like the stuff before with
With
Sid
Sid.
Barrett all that much. It's I understand the lore of it, but it's not good.
Well, and I think in Roger Waters is another great example of like simplicity with lyrics, and it paints such a fucking beautiful picture. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I love right when they were transitioning out of Sid, the Metal album.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
I
yeah.
love that album, man, and that's got a lot of acoustic stuff too. That's when they were doing that. You ever seen that live at Pompeii? That
Yeah.
trippy. That thing's awesome. Well, that's pretty classic. The
Yeah, and
volcanoes.
Rogers used like 3 chords, right? Like,
Yeah, I mean for the most part. I mean, a lot of the complicated stuff is in the Gilmore.
yeah.
If you want to talk about like what's musically, hard to play,
Yeah.
their actual
Roger Waters is just doom, 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 doom,
yeah.
doom, 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 doom. Yeah. But his lyrics and the picture, yeah, and everything together, I think that's like the best way to describe it right there.
Yeah.
It's but I
The
get sick of
Floyd.
I get sick of hearing that word authentic, but it's true. It's the right word.
Well, and I think I've tried to explain this to people before too. Like I said, I think you can hear it, It's just like when you can hear a cheesy song, and you're like, this sounds like a bunch of producers wrote this for someone to sing it for them.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it takes a slightly more trained ear or obsession of music, but I think you can kind of hear authenticity, like, and sometimes, you know, Joe Cocker, they don't write the songs, but they sing it like
Oh
it
man.
seems like they wrote it. They capture the feeling of what the songwriter was going for.
Yeah.
So in that way, it's authentic, it's genuine or authentic too. But I guess to me, that's what I love about just great songwriters, man. It seems like they had to get it out of them. It wasn't like some force, it wasn't like I'm gonna write down and make sure I touch on all the PowerPoints to my presentation,
Yeah.
or it's just something they had to express, right?
This song needs a pre-chorus.
Exactly, it's an emotion, and yeah, and I've dealt with playing with so many band members, like, oh, we need a bridge here, and this chord progression doesn't. I'm like, well, that's all that came out of me. So what do you want me to do?
That's what's great about like Lucinda Williams. Like, listen to Lucinda Williams. She has never written a bridge in her friggin' life. It's just verse, chorus, verse, chorus.
I don't think Hank Williams did either,
No, probably not.
or Johnny Cash, really.
Yeah,
No,
but
that's true.
but then you get somebody like Carole King,
Mm.
who is like a master at writing a bridge. Like, bridges are really hard to write.
Yeah, to
If
a
they don't
fit,
come, then they're not worth trying to force. I don't think.
100%, man, because it's almost like, I don't know, maybe the verse and chorus can align easier, or sometimes they're the same
Yeah.
progression. But like to try to transition it naturally
Yeah.
to appropriate bridge, it's
Carole
a challenge.
King is like the genius at that. Like, you've got a friend, and then her bridge is, well, ain't it good to know that you've got a friend? Like,
Yes.
oh, that's so simple, but it's so
Right.
genius, and like nobody but Carole King would have thought of that.
Right.
You know?
Exactly. Well, and it's almost like I think that was a big part of the Lennon McCartney writing. McCartney would kind of throw in, like, you can almost tell when the
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know. I was thinking McCartney had more poppier sounding stuff, so like when his part would come on, like, oh, he wrote this, and
Yeah.
it's kind of like a bridge section. It depends on the song, but
Yeah, there's a power in that. Have you co-written before, or are you pretty much solo?
I have, but it's been like pretty random times, so it was never really consistent enough.
Yeah.
I should say. And again, I think it just always comes back to like I can't stop myself from writing. You're so obsessed with it that like it's even like hard to like try to collaborate, even when you
Yeah.
make an effort to.
It's pretty hard to like set up like okay, we're gonna write a song at 1 o'clock today, or
Yeah, exactly. See what comes out.
but there is something. I think you hit it with Lennon and McCartney. Like, there's something there that probably wouldn't have happened if it was just one of them.
And I think that's even more like the beauty of their solo work because you can see like McCartney kind of had that more wings sound, and Lennon had that more whatever you want to call it. Yoko,
That cold turkey thing.
yeah, exactly. Or I guess it's like, what's Imagine compared to, I don't know, Baby
Let
I'm
it
Amazed.
let it be or something. Oh yeah, maybe I'm amazed. Yeah.
I mean, Imagine's they're both great songs, but I think Imagine could make you cry. I don't know, maybe.
I agree.
It's
Yeah.
just kind of like, yeah, it's just a resemblance of the artist, and so like I think that's even rare to have two people collaborate in such a mutual way to like, and that's why they have so many great songs. And it's the same with Gilmore and Waters, because I don't think Gilmore really wrote any lyrics. I think what's his name, the keyboard guy, Mason did
Oh, probably.
sometimes, but overall it was like Gilmore coming up with the chord progression, and then Roger with the lyrics, and
Yeah.
it's a harmony. It's hard to find, It's
There certainly
have
was a
you?
hole in Pink Floyd when Rogers left, and
Oh
Rogers'
yeah.
solo stuff is kind of.
Yeah, and
But I'm sure there are plenty of people that will disagree with that.
well,
Yeah.
people love the what's that the Pulse or the Eclipse. What's the what they
Oh,
do after he left that
is it momentary lapse of reason?
yeah, what's that big song? It's in my head.
Yeah,
It's got that
yeah,
80s Floyd sound.
yeah. I can't
I can't
remember.
even think what it is.
I can't either.
Sound shifted, yeah. Got all the backup singers.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. I can't think of those songs. And see, we can name any other Floyd song from the Rogers area or the
Yeah,
Waters, and it's
yeah.
like that goes to show.
There was
Well,
that
so
magic. It's that thing that you can't explain. It's that thing.
yeah, man, they're probably one of my favorite bands. Definitely. Well, it's hard to say favorite, but
Yeah.
so what about you? Have you collaborated much writing wise, or are you the same
I'm pretty much the
personal thing?
same. Yeah, more recently I've taken a Finnish song to another friend of mine who's also like a producer, and
Oh,
he's
cool.
helped me refine it a little bit, like, oh, the second verse sucks, do that again, and
Ah,
I think it's made me a better writer. But as far as co-writing, to sit down, I've tried to do it before, like, let's get together and write a song today, and that it's not like let's get together and go fishing where you just get together and you go fishing. When you get
right.
together to write a song, like, something has to happen. If it doesn't happen, then you're going to write a really bad song.
Well, yeah, and it's like you said earlier, you don't want to force it, and that's how you get bad songs. Trying to like force something that's unnatural, like
Yeah.
maybe we shouldn't be writing together.
That's how achy breaky heart happens.
That's all he had, but he's still here. Well, and then again, he just came back with whatever that
Oh,
god awful
Old Town Road,
Town
Old
Road.
Horse, One Horse, Old Horse Road.
I mean, he's been milking it this long.
Yeah,
Achy
he's
breaky
like
did
the
something.
only artist to have the most annoying song uh in two different centuries. Like, I'm gonna end the 20th century with a bunch of crap, and you just give me about a decade into the next century, and I'm gonna come out with another piece of crap for you.
And it both like mutually extremely played out, just like
Yeah.
to the masses. Like,
But that dude has like probably golden slippers, man.
oh yeah,
So I mean, why not?
achy breaky. You could did well. All right, so let's get back to the thing. So what was that? What is the album that has Hideaway?
It's kind of a it's kind of a
EP or something?
greatest hits.
Oh. So you're taking stuff from the past with new stuff?
Yeah, so I realized I was marketing myself as a folk singer, but I didn't have a full album of folk music. Like, I had some folk songs and then some like rock songs. So
Mm.
I took Hideaway from the Sun because I really wanted to release it.
Mm-hmm.
And I recorded What a Wonderful World. And then I took a couple songs from the Nashville album that were more folky, and then a couple songs from It Can't All Be Wrong. So it's kind of a compilation album.
Cool.
Um, I did originally just have Hideaway from the Sun, and then on the other side, What a Wonderful World, and it
Oh,
was just
okay.
two songs, and
The
but then I
newest.
just kind of combined it, so I had a whole album of singer songwriter contemporary folk, I guess, because it's not fully folk.
Yeah, the
Um,
straight old folk sound or whatever you want to call it. But
yeah, but Hideaway from the Sun is definitely like the crown jewel, I would say.
right on. So is that in the Wonderful World the latest recordings and everything else
The ones
was
that have been
past?
released, yeah, yeah,
Okay, cool.
yeah. What a Wonderful World and Hideaway from the Sun was done first, and What a Wonderful World was right after that. And then I started working on a new album about a year, maybe a year and a half ago. Got together with
Whoa.
a bass player and a drummer and a guitarist who's producing the album in his studio. He's the one I was telling you would say, you can write a better third line to that verse or something. And we,
Oh, okay.
yeah, and we spent a good year refining the lyrics, coming up with the arrangements, getting together with the bass player and the drummer, and just getting it down to a fine, you know, polished thing. And then we started tracking the album, and then the coronavirus swept through the world, and the album right now is just like
Every
drums, a little bit of bass, some acoustic guitars, and like two songs fully sung, and it's
Oh,
just
wow.
it's just sitting there.
And this is like a full length everything new or things
Yeah,
you've been writing over the years?
yeah.
Cool.
I've performed some of the songs live. I kind of test them out in
Yeah.
front of a crowd and see how they go. And so there's a few songs I don't think anybody's heard because I haven't performed them, but most of them I probably perform now.
Last
So
couple years, what have you?
yeah, I'm really excited for it. I don't think, unfortunately, we were talking about this before the show started. I don't think it's going to come out until next year.
Right, with everything going on and
Yeah, and then I
don't know
don't
when you
want to
can
just
perform
rush it
again.
because we just say we just took 4 months off. Like, okay, now we
Yeah.
got to get back. Like, we got to revisit this and make sure we're still on the same page, you know? And
Well, yeah, and that's what I was gonna ask. Do you feel like you were probably like consistent with it? Because first you're like teaching the band the songs, and then eventually they're recording them. And so were you like just about to that point to do all your vocal takes, and now you feel like you're like rusty again,
yeah, well, man, maybe.
maybe you're singing them more?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, thankfully, my acoustic guitar parts are all done. So,
Oh, that's
um,
cool.
yeah, so I don't have to worry about that. But you know, I've written some songs since then that will probably be on the next album. So,
Right on.
um, yeah.
And is there any sort of title for this unknown release, gonna be released album?
Um, yeah, three chords and a bunch of bullshit. No,
That's right. Fuck
no,
yeah.
I don't know. I have no idea.
It it'll just come naturally.
I will give one sneak peek that, well, it's not the song because we haven't finished it yet, but there is a different version of Hideaway from the Sun.
Oh,
it's
cool.
it's a band version. It's a little more John Mellencamp-ish, like it's popped up. It's going to be the revisited Hideaway from the Sun revisited. Yeah, it's
Like
just
John Mellencamp beat?
yeah, we were
Hell yeah.
actually
I could dig
pulling
it.
up Spotify and like because the drummer was like, I don't really know what to do with this song. So we'd pull up like John Mellencamp and we'd be like, oh, all the drummer did was like hit the snare drum for like four measures. You know?
Yeah, life
Yeah.
goes on. Yep.
Yeah. So we kind of model it that way. It was the guy that's producing its idea. He's like,
Hmm.
he kind of talked me into it because at first I was like, no, I'm done with that song. But he's like, you know, it's such a it's a beautiful song. It's sad, but it's also uplifting. And he's like, "You've already recorded the sad version. Let's do the uplifting version."
Oh, that's
So he
cool.
kind of talked me into it. So we certainly won't call the album that, but there will be Hideaway from the Sun revisited on it somewhere.
And is that maybe gonna come out prior,
I think so.
near future? That'd
I
be
think
cool, man.
so. Once everything's recorded, I think it probably will. So I
And
don't
it's
know.
got the.
I don't know how it's gonna sound. I mean, right now it's just a guitar and drums.
Oh, okay. So you
Sits
haven't
on
even
that
got like
version.
guitar solo or no vocals. Yeah.
No, and I don't even think the bass has been tracked on it yet. Unless
Oh wow.
unless he did go in and track it before, because we all work different hours, so we're going into the studio at different times. And
As I said, I just met Zach recently, and I felt like he said he might have
he might have
recorded something
he
recently.
might have played the bass already. I don't know.
He's talking good about it. He said he liked everything he was hearing, and you say it's like maybe 75% done-ish, or maybe more 50?
It probably would have been 75% done, but I think it's probably 55, 60% done.
Right on.
Yeah,
Cool.
it's it's like anything else. Like, just we kind of all just took like a 2 month vacation.
Yeah, I know. Well, and who knows how many more months or yeah.
Yeah.
So what's the status of like NEK TV, or how'd you get involved in that?
I started working part-time for them because I wanted to learn how to edit video.
Cool.
And so I started doing like 10 hours a week. And then a full-time position opened up, and I kind of slid in, and I've been there ever since. So I'm like the executive director there now.
Oh, whoa. I
And
didn't. Sure. I knew you were involved. I didn't know you were. Wow.
I'm
Cool.
the boss. Yeah.
You creative control, man. So
Yeah.
how long you been doing that?
And I'm so fortunate for that. Like, my heart goes out to guys like you who your entire income is pretty much like, sorry, you can't play shows anymore.
I
Um,
know, right?
I lost a bunch of shows, but I don't rely on them 100%. So I only probably lost 20% of my income, but it's got to be
Right.
for guys like you, man.
I mean, fortunately, like, yeah, my partner and I, we live super frugal and saved a bunch. It was almost like we were super ready for some apocalyptic things, but at the same time, yeah, it's always like the question of, well, when am I gonna get back to work? And it's like I'm starting to kind of reach out to new outlets. Like, I was gonna start doing, because my in-laws own a Italian restaurant, the Island Pond Cucina di Gerardo, the newest
Oh,
one.
I've been wanting to go there. I haven't been there yet. Yeah.
I'm spoiled with pizza and pasta, but so yeah, I was gonna try to get into doing like social media commercials for like local businesses, like stuff that maybe isn't on. I mean, because it almost feels like it'd be like more expensive to put it on TV unless it's maybe public, but social media just be, do it at your own
Yeah.
leisure.
Yeah.
I figure start with someone that I could do them a favor for free, and then use it as an example. I don't know. Thinking about, and me and Nathan were talking about doing a music video for him, because I feel like I could probably do it better as opposed to I try to like film myself and do a music video.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, I guess you gotta just kind of have to be creative right now. And
I mean, and dude, I've been doing so much recording. Like, I got a pretty nice home studio, so I at least can like get my creative outlet. But yeah, it's still, you get the anxiety of, oh shit, when am I going back to work? But
yeah, yeah. Well, you'll be able to hopefully play some outdoor
yeah,
things. And
like I said, I'm doing one tomorrow, and that'll be the
yeah, we're
first.
gonna go see you guys. We live just down the road from there, so we're gonna go get some fish and chips or something, and
Hell yeah.
watch you guys with our masks on.
That'd be
So
fun.
I'll be making faces at you and Nathan, but you won't be able to tell.
Do all this stuff, everything below. Well, you can tell with the eyes, the eyebrows.
I'm gonna
They
wear
give it all away.
sunglasses.
Oh shit! All right, I will be too, actually. Well, and that's another thing. Like, all this time off, like, maybe I don't know how often you like did the bar scene before you realized you want to do the folk scene. But I'm almost kind of like, when I do get back to work, I'm not too crazy about like being the background music as much, you know, like I'd rather play more shows where people are there to hear your originals and
Yeah.
you know, I mean I do covers, but it's just, you know, it's
Yeah.
not my whole thing at all, but
It's a lot harder to find those places, and it pays a lot less because they
right.
tend to be in coffee houses where they don't sell as much. You know, if you're pumping a lot of alcohol through a bar, you can afford to pay the musicians more. Coffee houses, I mean, we drive sometimes 4 or 5 hours and play for tips, and
Yeah,
sometimes we're
yeah.
lucky to make $100, and it's a horrible business plan, um,
It's your
but
passion, man.
yeah, but it's what I like to do. So maybe we need to create a, listening room environment up here because
Well,
there's not a lot of them up here.
you know, I was talking to Nathan about this and you know Robot Dog Studios in Williston?
No.
Well, so you know the other side of the state, they're doing like nightly live streams of local musicians.
Okay.
So we were thinking like maybe some type of outlet that you might have that I don't know what the status is of like the safety of NEKTV or
Oh yeah.
maybe trying to get local people over here to do a live stream thing that we can all be a part of because all the people are out of work, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah. NEKTV is going to be going back. We've been producing stuff from, thank God for the internet. I've been producing shows on Zoom, um,
Right, right.
but we're going to be going back into the studio next week. But so by the time
Oh
this
wow,
airs, we will have been back in the studio.
cool.
Limited, where the max is like 4 people because we have to tape off 6 foot, you know. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
we're appointment only, so people won't be able to just come in off the
Well, I
street.
mean,
So,
and a lot of those are solo people at that studio thing because
yeah,
they're trying to stick to those type of guidelines, what have you.
yeah. So like, if you and Nathan wanted to come in and do you could live stream theoretically from the studio or record something to play back later. We'll
Well, as I'm
be
saying, like even if you guys did live on your end, and then we're just going like live on Facebook and our own camera,
Oh yeah.
and kind of like double. I mean, we're trying to think of ways to like stay active, and you know, there's so many like great musicians in this local area
Yeah.
that I feel like maybe more people be interested, but.
It might,
Just a
yeah,
thought.
it might help create that listening room environment too, because people might be like, oh, well, I've seen him before, but I was dancing
Well,
with my friends or eating dinner, and
right. When it's like I feel like even the few times I've gone live on Facebook, I end up doing almost the folky thing more because you're like trying to talk to people out there
yeah, yeah.
in the interwebs. You know what I mean? So maybe I don't know, just an idea.
I
But
just did one the other night, and it's weird singing to a camera, but you start to get into the groove. And I always tell my girlfriend, like, I'm only gonna do a half an hour. I'm just gonna do a half an hour, and it's always like an hour and 20 minutes.
when you start like
Half hour
reading,
tonight.
interacting, and yeah,
Yeah.
I need to do it a little more often. But I just been outside too much. Nothing wrong with that.
Well, we finally had some good weather, man. Yeah,
It's been great.
I don't do what I did though. I decided to go out on my porch. I ran an Ethernet cable out the window onto my porch. I ran my laptop. I set up my microphone and I started playing, and I ate a bug like or three like right off in the first verse. And I got a sting behind this ear, and I got, yeah. So I mean,
I must have just missed that. I thought I caught you in the beginning. I saw the one song
it was the
or two
second
songs.
song that it happened.
So I must have caught the third song then, or maybe the first song.
I don't know.
So you had to stop and explain. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, pretty much.
Eat mosquitoes.
I just kind of kept the rhythm going, and then told everybody I ate a bug, and yeah.
Right on.
I don't know.
Well,
It's a new world, man.
yeah, I know. We're all adapting and adjusting and make the best out of it, right?
I like that idea though, man. Maybe we can do some live stream stuff and
Yeah,
start like
even
a new fan base of people that want to come out to some venue once we can do it again and
yeah, even if it's like, a weekend, once a week, twice a week, or whatever, like almost like you're booking bands, but you're not paying them, but like you're keeping consistency in people performing, and then it's everybody's at home anyways watching, some type of screen.
yeah, who's on
So
tonight or who's on this Friday or whenever it is.
yeah, and I mean, I thought, because really, it was just seeing that studio did it was like, man, that's a great idea, because they have like what's his name, Seth Yakavone, and
Oh yeah.
Abby Sherman. She's kind of a newer, but a lot of cool local Burlington people. I was like, man, we need something on this side of the state, but because there's a lot of great musicians out here, man.
What's that?
Just a lot of great musicians out here, and
Oh
I
yeah.
feel like I see a lot of people definitely trying to make an effort to, like you said, go live and keep promoting stuff, but it's like I can only do so much, and
It's
yeah.
hard and I feel like I don't know if you will agree with this or not, but when it first started and everybody started going live on Facebook and YouTube and everybody was really engaged, and like when I had 75 people watching at one point, and then like last night the max was like 11 people. Like I think the
It's
novel
saturated now,
yeah, I think the novelty's worn off, not just for the musicians, because
right?
musicians definitely miss that the energy that you get from a live crowd. But I think the people sitting at home too are kind of like, ah, yeah.
Well, it's like
I don't
it's the
know.
same
That's what
thing.
I
Like
think though.
they get the same thing from a live performance. Even seeing, like, it's just not the same.
Yeah,
Them seeing you in a venue and in person is just, it'll never be the same. And yeah, I mean, even just like play, and everything's different just when you're in front of people.
yeah,
If compared to in front of a screen,
yeah.
but I don't know. Wow.
I don't know either, man.
See what happens. Future's unknown. I just had like another festival cancel, or whatever.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
appreciate the ones who are making an effort to reschedule and like actually, reach out and what have you. But
Yeah, I just kind of like stopped even rescheduling at this point and just gonna wait and see.
oh yeah, no, I mean, yeah, me too. I was basically just the ones that will, reach out to me. But
Yeah,
I'm just trying to enjoy my summer and keep focusing on the music as much as I can. And
yeah. Find the silver lining, you know.
I get to hang out with my kid way more. I love that. And we're doing like tons of garden work and all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah, man. Absolutely. I hung out on my back porch all day today.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
but I'm also guilty of like going. Now we just had snow 6 days ago, and it's 80 today, and I'm like, God, it's too friggin' hot.
I was literally saying that in the middle of the day. It's
Yeah,
like, I got
never
to go
happened.
inside for 3 hours.
Never happened. Oh, there's snow on the ground. It's too friggin' hot. Oh, it's raining. Oh, I wish it would rain.
Why can't the weather just stay perfect? Damn it. I live in Vermont. All right. Well, yeah, man. Anything else you want to put out into the ether, the universe?
No, I wish I had some shows to promote or an album to promote or um
Well, where can folks find you online?
yes, I can do that.
There you go.
toddpronto.com.
Right on.
1D
1D. Yep.
DPRONTO. On Facebook, Instagram. I'm on Twitter, but I you don't really need to follow me on Twitter because I post something like once every 3 months. Bandcamp, SoundCloud, I've got all that stuff. Spotify, anywhere
Right on.
music is not paid for and listened to for free, I'm on. Uh,
Accessible.
Yeah,
streaming.
anywhere music is accessible. Yeah. And then hopefully soon, back out in coffee houses and
Right on.
and house concerts and
What
whatever
was
whatever can happen as soon as it can happen. But
what
like
was that
you,
most?
everything's canceled. So
Yeah, I know.
oh, and
I
I
mean,
mean, I go live on Facebook like every other Thursday or something.
oh, right on. A couple times a month.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
What was that last? You did that really cool show. I think it was like this winter somewhere, Connecticut. I want to say, or
Oh,
no, upstate New York. I can't
Saratoga
remember.
Springs, New York.
There you go. I knew. Yeah,
Yeah,
where was that? That seemed like a really cool spot. Like people were really listening.
that's the yes, that is the quintessential listening room, probably in the United States. It's a club that started in 1960 called Cafe Lena,
Oh
and
yeah, okay.
yeah, Bob Dylan played there before Bob Dylan album came out, and
Wow.
Arlo Guthrie and Don McLean like debuted American Pie there, and it's this little 100-seat room that was started by a lady that loved the music, and her policy was um, to respect the artist and to listen to the artist and don't talk. And she passed away right before the 90s started. It became a nonprofit. They kept it going. It's
Wow.
um,
It's awesome.
incredibly amazing. It's they joke and call it the Carnegie Hall of folk music because it's kind of, and
That is cool, man.
the only reason I got to play there was because I was opening for Livingston Taylor. It's um it's a very hard place to get into if you're
Mm.
not nationally known or on the
Oh, so
radio.
that performance was the opening.
Yes, I had 25
Okay.
minutes.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
25
And it
minutes, 2 days in a row. It was January 31st and February 1st.
seemed like it was a good show. Seemed like it went over well.
It was yeah, it was
One of your favorites?
absolutely,
Hell yeah, dude.
absolutely. I've been lucky to play at some cool venues, but that one was just, you know, I don't generally get nervous to go on stage. I get excited because I want to see the crowd and I want to connect with them and tell them stories and laugh together. And
Yeah.
I was friggin' petrified before I walked on that stage because I knew the history of it. I knew that I would never be able to play there in my life. I asked Livingston's manager if I could play there, and they said, "Well, ask Livingston." And I expected the answer to be, "What are you, high? Like, there's no way." And he said yes. And then he said yes like 4 months before it happened. So I had 4 months to psych myself out more. So that's actually the recording that you saw was the second night. The first night I was a little more nervous because I don't know
Post the
why,
best
but I
stuff.
was just so scared to go on that stage. I'm like, oh my God.
I mean, like you said, if it's the Carnegie Hall of the folk
Yeah.
musicians, I mean, yeah, I would imagine.
I want
What
them
is,
to like me.
what especially, it's like they gave you that respect and listened. That alone could just that would make me nervous, man,
Yeah.
because it's just like
Oh,
they're paying attention to detail. You know what I
and
mean?
it's every opening act there by policy gets 20 minutes. That's it. And so they
Oh,
came into the dressing room, and I was sitting there with Livingston, and they said, "Okay, so you'll have 20 minutes, and then I'll come in and bring up Livingston." And Livingston Taylor said, "No, do a half an hour." And so they said, "Well, he's the headliner." So I decided I'll do 25 minutes. I'll
make
split
sure
it.
you,
And
yeah.
I'll tell you what, they're there.
It was because they didn't have the big clock on stage or the stage clock.
They
You
didn't
have
do
5 minutes countdown.
they didn't do that, but they were there, and they, out of the corner of my eye, they're like, "All right, it's 23 and a half minutes.
Like, how many songs can you play?
Yeah, and so thank you, Siri. That's really helpful. I have 23 minutes before I self-destruct.
That's probably how you felt that first night. You're like, oh
Yeah,
God.
no, they run that place by the book. It's intimidating because they know how historic it is and what they have. But
Right.
the plus of it is they professionally record it with 3 cameras.
Oh.
And so
Oh, okay. And
I
she got the audio and video?
audio and video, yeah.
And so is the full performance up, or is it just that?
Yes,
I think I saw the one song.
I do have the full performance on YouTube.
Okay, YouTube. Okay, I probably saw the Facebook clip or.
Yeah, I think I did clips of a few songs on Facebook and then put the whole thing on YouTube.
So multi-angle professional Cafe Lena recording. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, so it was cool. So that was another reason I was like I can't screw this up. It's going to be the only professional video I have.
Hey, you should put the live album out. Record at a place like that.
I thought about it. Yeah, maybe
Live at Cafe Lena.
maybe I'll do that. It'll be a lot quicker than trying to finish the other album.
It's already done.
This album's done already. Yeah, maybe I will do that.
Just put some, sprinkle some dust into the ether.
I didn't even think of that. I'm gonna have to pull it off YouTube now. No, I'm just kidding.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
that was
yeah,
cool,
man.
It's those rooms are hard to find, but
Most definitely.
I think it's our job to just keep looking for them.
There's this other
to create
cool
one. I think we need to create one.
Yeah, I mean, what better area? There's this place I played in. Oh God, where was it? I think it was like outside of Worcester, but it was a very similar thing, but it was a non-profit theater.
Huh.
I think it only had like 60 seats, and like yeah, it was a similar thing. Like I was opening for a guy who was like a great vocalist, and I like barely had my. I don't think I was doing the one-man band thing, but I wish I could remember the name of it because it was another like just really great listening room.
Huh.
Who knows if it's still open, but oh well.
Yeah, man, those are
Not ringing a bell right now.
Those are the crown jewels if you can find them, man. Yeah.
Yeah, man, that's a good idea, man. We should just create our own, and it's. I think when you lay down the how it's the guideline, whatever you want to call it, just like what you expect. Like you said, the lady who did Cafe Lena, like respecting musicians, listen to it. When you already kind of make it that's the atmosphere you want to create, I feel like, it just attracts a certain type of people.
Yeah.
So
I think it was the second night, and while Livingston was performing, somebody's cell phone went off, and
call security.
Yeah, like the feeling in that room, and I think even the person just didn't realize that their cell phone wasn't on silent, because like the whole audience collectively was like and the staff was like like we've got to, yeah. And Livingston was very good about it and just asked the person to kindly take the phone call outside or something. But it was like the only time I've ever seen a cell phone going off and being like sacrilegious in
right.
Like everybody even the crowd like like
you brought one of those in here.
Yeah, like 90% of my shows, there's a guy sitting at a table right here that's like, hey, yeah, man, yeah, I got time to talk.
I got nothing going on. It's not loud here. What do you mean?
Freaking weirdo that holds his guitar upside down. So yeah, that was cool to see that. So yeah, we'll start our no phones, no talking listening room.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Whenever we get things back to normal, or maybe create it in a streaming way of sorts. I'm open to any of these ideas, but
it might not be a bad idea to start it streaming and kind of start planting the seed.
Because, yeah, it already gives you that atmosphere if you're talking more direct, and then there is no one to interrupt because you're the only one on the camera.
Yeah, and then
So
the seed's kind of planted, so like when things do get back to normal.
when I think some of the better live streaming things I've seen is like they almost set up the room to make it look like a venue, so it feels like Todd Snyder. Have you seen? He's been doing the ones where he has his wagon wheel flag he has.
Yeah,
and
it's
all his
like
lights.
Purple Room or something like that, or
Yeah. I think in that alone can kind of just like again create that atmosphere. Like lighting goes a long way with those intimate listening rooms. The dimness. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you kind of bring the lights down, and
then it's on you, and
like a movie theater, the lights start to come down, and it's time for the previews.
Like, oh, we must pay attention now and shut the hell up.
Shut up your phone.
It's probably just like, I swear I had it on vibrate, but I just rubbed it. No.
That's all right. Siri just set a self-destruct timer on me, so
like,
I like that idea. I think we should try to start some sort of online music, Northeast Kingdom music feature. I mean, there's got to be a better name for it than that, but
yeah, so I just didn't know. I mean, I'm not familiar with the studio or the TV thing. Yeah. Like, I didn't know you were executive. I thought you were just maybe. Well, I guess you said originally you worked there in a different sense. So maybe I just thought you did something like that. But
I was just filming and editing stuff, and then I worked my way up, I guess. We'll have to have you come in and do like a little tour, and I'll show you the.
I'd love to, man.
The mixing board and the cameras, and I think we could create something.
Yeah, let's keep in touch and plan something out. I mean, I got plenty of time at the moment. So.
Yeah, right.
And I guess you said you're getting back there next week or after Memorial.
After
Day?
Memorial Day, yeah. Cool. I'm so glad that we had a 3-day weekend.
Right.
I haven't worked.
3-month weekend.
Yeah. My last day I worked was March 19th, and I could use this 3-day weekend.
Mine was 15th, I want to say.
Yeah, that could be. Yeah. Yeah, we'll have you come down and check out the studio. I think we could do it there. But we'll probably see you guys tomorrow night. I think we're gonna come down and get some dinner. What time do you start?
It's 4. It was supposed to be 5, but now it's 4. He said we'll probably end up going to 7, but at least 4 to 6. And
yeah, because they close it. That's right. I think they stopped taking orders at 7.
Yeah, and I think he said they like hit they're crazy busy at like 5. So he's like, you want to be there playing already. So
yeah.
Yeah, we can mingle with mask on and figure it out.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we'll come down. We'll I'm gonna mow the lawn tomorrow, so I'll probably be hungry.
Right. I'm awake. I'm hungry, so yeah.
Yeah.
I'm born hungry.
Perfect.
All right. Well, hey, man, appreciate being on the show.
Yeah,
I think we covered most of your musical background and journey, which is awesome.
Yeah. I think you got some stories out of me that my girlfriend had never heard because she's kind of sitting over there and she's like, "Oh, I never heard that story before."
That's awesome. That's what the show is all about,
Yeah.
And that's another cool thing when I do the highlight clips. You get cutting everything together to create that story in a different sense. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it when it comes out. And
yeah, I'll definitely let you know when it's posted. It's like you would think I would catch up with having all this time, but I've just got so much. I just put out the 12th one, but I think 12th one. So
yeah,
27.
Like I was gonna read all these books and I was gonna start painting again. I haven't painted for years, and I was gonna write all these songs, and I've read a half a book, written one song, and haven't picked up a paintbrush. But I've also been working from home. Like I've been producing public access content from my computer. So
well, it's cool that you can at least continue that via Zoom because I even see like the major networks, everyone's doing it. I mean, they have to.
Yeah, it's the
late night show on Zoom, kind of weird, but
I know. It's great.
We got to adapt. Yeah, we're all just equal now in video quality.
That's dude. That is my. I told my board of directors that I said this is the first time ever that public access television is just as high quality as the major networks. But one of the other things that I absolutely love about this is you get to see Post Malone with no lights and no backup and no
Yeah.
makeup and no glitz, and you get to see Blake Shelton sitting at a campfire, and he doesn't have explosions going off behind him, and it's like it really
Yeah.
humanizes
Absolutely.
everybody and puts them on this refreshing playing field that, like, oh, the famous musicians are no better than the guy that I see play at the East Side restaurant on Friday nights, or
Yeah, because there's so much. Yeah, there's so much goes into the production and everything. Yeah.
I love it.
Image. Yeah.
I've been so enjoying uh seeing
The,
celebrities have
yeah.
to deal with what we have to deal with on a regular
And
basis, and that's we don't have a guitar tech and
like I've never actually tuned this thing before. What do you mean?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, like
No,
I think
it's
it was Eric Church, like, came on TV on one of these things, and he had like this $7,000 Martin guitar, and it was like out of tune, and he wasn't really singing all that great, and I'm like, there we go, come on.
when it's again that comes down to like authenticity and like
Yeah, man.
like how are you with just you and your instrument,
I love
without all of the glitz and glamour and production,
yeah.
producers play a huge role, especially with a lot of like mainstream stuff. They can just reshape and reform and
And that's part of,
arrange
like,
and
earlier where I was telling you, like, before I listen to Steve Earle's new album, I'm gonna go back and watch that live stream of him and an acoustic guitar.
man,
I'm
I want to watch that now.
I'm
Yeah.
more interested in that, and
Oh yeah.
I'm loving watching all these people having
I,
to just make do without
yeah.
all the perks of.
It gets back to the simplicity, especially again, like I mean, yeah, you love acoustic music that much now. It's like everybody has to be acoustic in a sense. I mean,
Sort
you
of.
see those occasional multi-screen jams in the bands, which some of them are doing great justice, but
Oh yeah.
sometimes they're like, it doesn't really sync up. But it's tricky.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, Brad Paisley's got a hell of a production going on.
I didn't catch that, but
But Woody Guthrie rode in the back of train cars and
oh
sang
hell,
in union houses with no amplification, and that's what music used to be, and
hmm,
maybe it will be again. I don't know.
I think it always comes in waves of
Yeah,
I always say the "Oh Brother We're Out Thou" that hit the acoustic that like revived so much
yeah, it did.
old
Yeah,
folk and bluegrass and
I forgot about
reshape things, and simultaneously it's always like we get oversaturated with like these pop sounds, so we have to like retreat back.
yeah,
You know what I mean? But
yeah.
yeah,
If you
it's
look
inevitable.
yeah, if you
Hopefully.
look back to, like, when the Beatles were on the charts, like, the number one songs weren't the Beatles. The number one songs were like
Yeah.
bubblegummy. I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but
It was like what do you call them? The Osmonds, or not even
yeah, yeah,
something like that.
like Hey Jude was
Or
out.
or the Monkees
The
were
Monkees, yeah,
more mainstream than the Beatles, and they were,
yeah,
ripping off, not ripping off, or whatever, parodying the Beatles in a sense.
yeah,
But in that's kind of the funny thing that a lot of people don't think about. They're such like iconic now, but like at the time, it wasn't the most popular thing, even though
Well, you hear
who
that
the hell
music
doesn't know
on
the
the
Beatles?
radio today sucks. It kind of always has. It's the cream rises to the top eventually, but it wasn't at the top during it. So I don't know.
Right.
And maybe we're seeing that now. I don't know. I like it. I'm enjoying
I
it.
like.
I don't want I don't want I don't want Luke Bryan to be able to go back out on the road with 6 tractor trailers and lights. I want Luke Bryan to have to sing around a friggin' campfire and sell it to me.
Hell yeah. And that's the difference between him and someone like Steve Earle. Like, he can do both. Yeah. He'll come out with the full band, or he'll say, I'll show up at J Peak and yell at the guy who says Copperhead Roads. He'll do both. Because it's just like proving I can do either or. I don't have to have, the stuff behind me or whatever.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, man. Yeah.
Oh. Well, I appreciate you being on the show, man. I gotta wrap it up. I always have this tendency, like, I always talk too long, but no, it's not a bad thing.
You've got plenty of stuff, so
I'm like, this is gonna be an hour. Oh no, 2 hours, but whatever.
So this is a 20-minute show, right?
That's why I do the clips, because I feel like overall people's attention spans are gonna watch those more.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like, it also gives the illusion, like, if that's like part of the episode, it's like, no, the episode's just us talking. But
yeah,
you got to be a podcast lover, I think, to really. You got to either be a your own fan of the artist, like of yourself, or someone who actually listens to podcasts.
Yeah.
On a regular basis, people talking, which comes back to like talk radio. That's kind of how podcasts came out of, right?
Yeah. I listen to a bunch of them when I'm walking.
So where's your Toddcast? Where's the Todd podcast?
I've thought about it for a couple of years. I haven't pulled the trigger on it yet, though. So I might someday.
Right on. Well, again, man, it's good meeting you, even virtually.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can.
We'll meet in person tomorrow. I'll be the guy with the mask on.
You're one of the guys. Nathan will recognize you more. That's Todd.
That's Todd. That guy's got a mask on. That's gotta be.
We'll be the guys with the beards and no mask.
Yeah, right.
Actually, Nathan can wear a mask if he wants.
He could. But yeah. Nah, you guys will be
part of our look.
You guys will be separated from. I don't think they'll let people up there.
Oh yeah, no. We'll put the tip jar like 12 feet away.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Well, I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Let's stay in touch.
As well, but we'll see you. We'll see you tomorrow. I'm pretty positive we're gonna go.
Cool. Sounds good, man.
All right.
Yeah, I'll keep you posted on all this when it's premiering, and peace, man.
Good talking to you. Yeah, let's keep in touch. I'll see you later.
For sure. See you, man.
Catch you later.